What's good, YouTube? Let's talk about getting better entries. So this is a trade that I caught on October 2nd, and I didn't catch this whole trend with my full position, but I did catch the whole trend. Um, and the difference between catching the whole trend with your whole position and catching the whole trend is that whenever you first enter, you'll have your initial position size, and if you choose to scale out, that completely changes the risk reward dynamic. So, although I did catch a 10R trade, I didn't catch 10R on this trade. Oops, I'm clicking the wrong thing. I think it was like, I think it ended up being like a 260% trade, and maybe I caught like 100% move of that trade. So, like, I left a lot of money on the table, but I'm going to talk more about the trade structure because I feel like on YouTube there are so many different videos that talk about everything but the trade structure. Like everyone wants to show you the flashy P&L and everyone wants to talk about smart money concepts and all this complicated shit when I don't really feel like that is conducive of having good trade ideas. I mean, ultimately, your strategy is up to you, but I just don't think overcomplicating your entries, exits, and stop losses need to be that complicated. Like, you don't have to trade liquidity sweeps and fair value gaps and blah blah blah. Like, all you have to do is look at what the price is and where it's more likely to go. So I placed a limit order at exactly $44. This is hyperliquid, by the way. This is a cryptocurrency trade, but it literally does not matter. Like, this is all markets. So I placed a limit order entry at $44, and my stop loss was about 60 cents. And so let me see, that might be like, I don't really think that's like 60 pips on like FX and stuff. 60 pips is actually quite a lot of pips. So it might be like the equivalent to like 20 pips or something like that. But anyways, so I was risking 60 cents and I was trying to catch a pretty high R move. Now, I ended up scaling out of this trade early because um so there's something called EV, right? Expected value. This is something that Lance Brightstein talks about a lot of times. And a lot of times, your EV of the trade is constantly changing in real time. EV is your expected value. So every time, if you're taking buys position like I did right here, every time the market turns against you, your expected value changes, and so does the amount of reward that you should expect to win on that trade. But when you're trading a system in which you're following a trend trading system, uh, you the although the EV changes, it's also constantly evolving as the trade goes on. So like I bought at 44, it went to 45, it saw some weakness here, and then it popped all the way to 46, and I took some profit. So initially I entered this trade right here and I held, and it popped all the way up and it came all the way back against me down here. And most people, and this is why I said in my other video, don't put your stop loss at break even. And yet, you know, there's just so much misinformation about that. Like, there's no reason to put your stop loss at break even because the market is going to test your entry. Anyways, market came back, tested my entry, so you can see in real time why I don't move my stop loss to break even. Anyways, the only time you want the only reason you want to move your stop loss to break even is because you want to eliminate the risk of losing the trade, and you're just not thinking properly. You've been misinformed. So anyways, once I saw this weakness initially, I took a little bit of profit here. I took like a very, very small amount. And then once we started to pop, I started to scale out. Now, what I could have did differently is just simply just trail my stop loss because this was a massive runner. But after I entered at 44, it went to 45, 46, pulled back to 45. Buyers came in with massive engulfing candles and pushed the market further. But the thing is with getting good entries, I want you to look at this chart and tell me who had the best entries. Regardless that this continued up in the uptrend, we don't know that all of this is going to happen. But if we taken a look at just this data right here, just this information right here. In fact, let me just actually pull up the chart. Okay, so this is that trade. So who had the better entries? I'm going to pull out the risk to reward measurement and this was my entry right here, right? This is a limit order entry. I didn't wait for an engulfing candle or anything like that. 600. So so looking at this area right here, who had the better entry? The person who took the engulfing candle. Now mind you, this is still a good entry because you're just mad close to this 45 level, or the person who placed the limit order right here. So in this situation, it's relatively the same thing, but it's not always like that. So if we were to take this level here, who has the better entry? The person who bought exactly at the price of 45, or the person who bought this candle right here, looking for the continuation up. Now, your invalidation needs to go. You can either put it below all the way down here. You can put it below the prior bar lows, the entry of your candle. But just looking at the price action, understand that everything comes with a trade-off in trading. That, you know what? Everything comes with a trade-off in life, period. But we're talking about in trading specifically, everything comes with a trade-off. The more confirmation you have, the less reward that you have. The less confirmation that you have, the less probability that you're going to win the trade, but the more reward that you will get for winning the trade. So if you I took entries down here with zero confirmation. I looked at the trend, like I took buys here because of a higher time frame analysis. So I can probably can't find exactly like why I took that entry right now, but if we just to zoom out right here, market was like recovering. So I'm like, okay, market's recovering. We're testing all these levels. I'm going to take buys at 44. And it worked out, but I had zero confirmation that this trade was going to work. Why do I enter like that? Because I accept the risk that I'm probably going to be wrong on the trade, but I know that if I'm right, I'm going to have a great entry on the trade. And I did. That entry at 44 was the bottom of this massive move. Okay? The bottom, the absolute dead bottom of this move. And it ran for 10 plus R. And that's an entry with no confirmation. Now, the alternative to that is getting an entry with confirmation. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just depends on the type of person that you are. Now, you could have said that you could have taken this entry here. Of course, you could have if you was up at, this is in the afternoon. I thought that was midnight. So if you was at the chart sitting here watching this price action and you waited for us to reclaim the level, I'll probably have to do a different video on like what's reclaims and failures. But basically, reclaiming is when price gets back above the level. So we reclaim this level, and that popped all the way back up. But if you were super slow, which happens all the time, if you're a discretionary trader and you had to take this entry, your stop loss is going to go below the low. Now, your take profit depends on your system. So you could either take profit at a 1-to-1, a 2-to-1, a 3-1. Like, well, you could trend trade this or whatever. Like, it's completely up to your system. But when we're talking about getting better entries, it's objectively true that limit orders will give you, bar none, the best entries out of any other trading strategy that there is, period. You will get the best entries with limit orders. The trade-off for that, I'm not telling you to trade limit orders, okay? Limit orders are very risky. They're very dangerous. But what I'm saying is, if you want to get better entries, it is objectively true, period, that with limit orders, you will get better entries. So if you find that your entries are ass, try to figure out, okay, how could I possibly strategize to get a limit order entry at a specific level with an invalidation that makes sense? I back tested Hyperliquid and I found that 60 cents was excellent for me. I literally just took a trade today and almost the exact same thing happened where it almost wicked me out. So let's see. Let's go over here. I'm just gonna delete this because this is taking too long. So I took buys at 45. What do you know? 44 and 45. I took buys at 45, and it almost stopped me out. Like, came real close to stopping me out. Came super close to stopping me out. And that was my entry down there, that green candle. I mean, that green arrow. And I caught a nice little trade right there. 71%. But here's the thing. I had no confirmation on that trade. It was just a limit order entry at 45. Why did I take that limit order entry? Because I had higher time frame confluences. The market was really shit in the bed, selling off. And I knew that after we failed 45 on a daily, this is the daily time frame, okay? So I knew that after we failed 45, we're most likely going to, 50. After we failed 50, I knew that we were most likely going to come down and test 45. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait for it to come and retest 45 and not take no other entries, not at 46, 47, 48. I'm just wait for 45. And lo and behold, it made it there. It made it all the way there because the market likes to move in quarter level increments. And in this case on Hyperliquid, it was moving in $5 increments. So it failed 50, came all the way down to 45. I took entries and I held the position. I wish I would have held longer because my original target was about 3R. And I started to, as you can see, I started to scale out and partial out there. So that's that. But when it comes to getting better entries, you have two options. You can wait for more confirmation, which is just confirmation. I'm going to explain it super simply. Confirmation is just evidence of your idea at the key area of interest or level that you're observing. So let's say you're looking to take buys at 45, but you wanted to wait for confirmation. This is confirmation. Exhaustion wick. So sellers are failing to go push the market any down further. Bullish engulfing candle, almost a bearish engulfing candle, followed by another bullish engulfing candle. That tells you that buyers are strong in this area. At this moment in time, as you can see, more supply came into the market and it almost pushed the market back down. We even retested this area as resistance. We retested it multiple times on the 15-minute time frame. 1, 2, 3. This was resistance too, and yet we got back above the level. So it shows you that buyers were still strong at this level, even though buyers failed to hold this level. It succeeded at holding the general area. So I like to be precise with my entries, but I like to give my stop loss a little bit of room to breathe, because when you try to focus too much on getting high R multiples, you end up like squeezing the shit out of your trade and you just get stopped out preemptively for no reason. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to hold this trade, I need to give it about 60 cents on this specific asset. You need to back test it and figure out what works for you. But on this specific asset, I like 60 cents. I can do that. If I ended up doing a confirmation entry, I probably would have got stopped out with the same stop loss that I had with my limit order entry. I probably would have almost got stopped out. Let's see. So if I didn't put a limit, yeah. So if I took this engulfing candle as confirmation and like did a stop, even just not even a stop below prior bar lows, but if I just did a stop, the same 60-cent exit, I would have got stopped out, like right here. See, it would have sucked up my orders, pause. It would have absorbed my orders, and then it would have retested and then went on without me. And this is why I don't usually wait for confirmation. I just take the risk. I'm like, we're all here to make money, right? So just accept the risk of you possibly losing the trade. That's what I do. Just fuck it. Just accept the risk. Like, what are you afraid of? Like, don't over leverage your account. Don't bet it all on this one trade. Think about this series of trades. I lose a fucking lot of trades. I lose all the time. And that's why I position size accordingly. So if you want to get better entries, you can either place a limit order at specifically the exact level that you want to enter at and accept the risk of possibly losing that trade, but also make sure that you position size properly, or you can wait for confirmation and try to get, you're probably going to have to end up like giving your trade a little bit more room. So that means you're taking on more risk with a wider stop loss, and you're probably going to have less reward depending on how long you hold that trade. So some people go for simple one-to-ones. Hey, that worked out for you. It hit that one-to-one and then you were Gucci. With that confirmation entry, this ran for about 2.7R. Okay. So that's with the confirmation entry at the key level of support. Now let me put this back, and my entry was 45.01. I remember because I typed it in, and this is 600. And with the no confirmation, I caught about 3.87 R. So that's a significant difference in the R that you catch, the R multiple that you catch. Like it's really significant. Like that could be the difference between if you're profitable and unprofitable. It really is. And that's why I just choose to take limit order entries. Now, you can also have a limit order entry at a specific level, but maybe it's like, so if you're risking $100, let's say you're risking $100 on this trade, okay? Let me visualize this for you guys. I know people like visuals. So you're risking $100 on this trade. You could enter with $80 of risk and wait to scale in the remaining 20. You can enter with $50 of risk and then wait to scale in the remaining $50 on that trade. You could enter. You can do it any number of ways, guys. Like if you want to wait for confirmation, if you want to do both, where you enter specifically at the level but also wait for confirmation at the level, you could do that. You could absolutely do that. But please understand that also changes your average entry price. Okay, so that changes the dynamics of the trade. So if you do enter here and you do a 50-50 split, so you enter here. So this is first entry 1, and this is entry 2 after you get this engulfing candle. So entry 1 is probably like somewhere right here because it's a limit order. Entry 2 is right here. The difference between these is the average order. So if our this is right here, this is right here, average is probably going to come down to about, in fact, we could be precise with it. Let me see. Do I have the Gann box? So entry 1 is here, entry 2 is here. So this green line will be your average entry. So this would be your average entry. So let me get rid of that. A little trick for you. So that would be your average entry. And so your stop loss was originally here. So your average entry comes up because you accepted more, you added more position size at a higher price, but you accepted that you'll have more confirmation. This is now at its peak, a 3R trade instead of a 3.87R. I think that's pretty reasonable, but you mind you, you need to enter very close to the level. Like, don't be adding all the way up here. Like, obviously you can, right? But look at the difference. Like, if you keep your stop loss exactly the same, look at the difference of how much more R multiple that you're going to get on that trade. Now you're going to get 1.77. Well, actually, that's not correct. That is, so this right here, this right here. So your average is about right here. So it's about 2.48. So 2.48. So you go from 3.87 to 2.48. That's still pretty good, but it's not 3.87. And if you have a strategy where you have a lower win rate, you're probably going to want all the R multiple that you can get. So that's my quick lowdown and dirty on how to get better entries. I'm going to continue to drop value bombs for you guys. Drop a like, drop a comment, and tell me what kind of content that you would like to see. Like, if you're a struggling trader and you need help on something, just tell me what you want to see. Tell me what you're struggling with, what you want to know, because I already know these influencers are not going to help you. They're not going to help you, bro. Like, most of them are lying. So anyways, we'll see y'all.